Homeless person calls for emergency accommodation, gets upset when told to call the right number. I work in a town hall in a small town, and sometimes I take care of the telephone switchboard when the reception staff are busy. This morning, I received a call from a homeless person who informed me that he would be in town later and wanted to know if we had emergency accommodation for him to spend the night. I explained to him that the person who handles this information was currently in an appointment, but that I would reach out to him again as soon as I had the details. After a short wait, the manager informed me that, yes, our town has 2 emergency accommodations, but the person in need must call 115, the emergency number for homeless services. I called the gentleman back, glad to know I could give him good news that he wouldn't have to sleep outside tonight. Hello, sir, I have the information you need. We indeed have accommodations available, but you need to call 115 to check availability. We don't have direct access to that. I tried to remain polite and as helpful as possible, even though I knew this was standard procedure. I explained again that they would be the ones to confirm his booking, not me. Homeless person calls for emergency accommodation, gets upset when told to call the right number. Part 2. At this point, I expected him to be a little frustrated, but nothing could have prepared me for his response. Can you reserve it for me? He asked. No, unfortunately, I can't, I replied. You'll need to call 115, and they will direct you to the person who manages the accommodations in our area. That's when his tone shifted. I don't mind following the rules, but your system is so complicated, he snapped. I'm no longer interested in coming to your town. And then, just like that, he hung up on me. I was left sitting there in stunned silence. What just happened? I had offered him a chance to stay in an emergency accommodation, explained the necessary procedure, and yet he hung up on me like I had personally offended him. It was bizarre. It's like, dude, no one asked you to come to our town. Why are you getting upset at having to make a phone call to ensure you don't have to sleep on the street? I was just following the rules, which were the same for everyone. But instead of appreciating the help, he seemed to get more offended the more I tried to assist him. Homeless person calls for emergency accommodation, gets upset when told to call the right number. Part 3. I honestly don't know if he had a bad day or if there was something more going on, but I couldn't help but think that it was a little ridiculous. I was trying to offer help, not make his life more difficult. But for some reason, my efforts to help him in a way that followed the rules ended up being too complicated for him. I also wondered if this was a common experience for people working in public service. How many times do we try to help, and people just get angry because they don't want to follow the system or rules in place? It's part of our job to deal with people who don't always appreciate the assistance we're trying to give them. Honestly, I was just doing my job, providing the correct information, and I thought I was being patient and understanding. But this situation left me thinking, why get upset at the system when it's there to help you? At the end of the day, he still had the option to get a place to stay, but his refusal to follow simple instructions had put that at risk. It was one of those moments where you just shake your head and wonder how people get so upset over simple things. If I didn't know better, I'd think he was mad at me for just trying to do my job.